This is Matthew from Chadmatted, co-creator of Legends of the Hidden Force along with Whiskey Jack Toys. Today we wanted to showcase our factory samples, our hidden forged accessories. These accessories are modular, made to be taken apart, customized, built any way that you want to build your accessories, but there's one really unique feature that we want to showcase today. As you can see, this side is flat. It's made to really fit well in an action figure hand, a G.I. Joe hand, Legends of the Hidden Force, anything along those lines. But if you were to look at the top of this peg, how easy that is to see, there is a cylinder on the top of that. It is a 3.18 millimeter diameter cylinder. And if that is familiar to you, it's because it matches up with Lego and other building brick brands that have a very similar diameter piece. And you may wonder why we actually did something like this. Well, we're going to show you that today. So some of the things we can do with our accessories is the wrist peg on our swivel removable hands is also that same size. So if I take this sword from Shinobi here, our little guy here, I can stick that right in there. Use a sword for a hand. But not only can we use our accessories, but if you wanted to put your own spin on things, here's your Lego or other building brick compatible brand right there with it. And I can also do the same thing with Obalke's axe. So this little piece right here I'm putting on, it's called a monopod, or not a monopod, but a male-to-male coupling. It's kind of the hallmark of this. Without these, none of these accessories would work. But you can see I can stick this right in there and have it in longer accessory, customized however I want it to be customized. Another thing you can do is, here's our hat that goes on here. There's a hole inside this hat. I can take that same thing. I can take Obalke's axe right here and I can stick that in that hole. And what can you do with this? Fantastic idea. But we want to add functionality along this line as much as we could to really add this stuff. We really envision this being used with a shorter piece, possibly using for a shield. But we also did the same thing with our heads. So inside of this head, I know you can't actually see it very well, but I can stick that onto the end of a rod and have a head on the end of the rod. Once again, we're not really sure what you can do with this, but we wanted to add those features because just add some added value and features along the line. And even the same thing with our feet. Now we have our standard foot peg here that would work with classic figure stands, but inside of there, there's like a two-tiered, almost like a two-tiered cake approach, where there's a 3.2 millimeter hole in there. And you can do the same thing there. So we really see this working with our modular accessory stand that we're going to make to really add dynamic posings. And that'll be something that we'll feature as we go through. Another thing I wanted to showcase was just some of the rest of the weapons and how they look and work together. So this is Kudan's Bull Club. Kudan is modeled after the unproduced Ninja Commando Road Pig from the G.I. Joe line. We wanted to have an accessory that really reminded us of his concrete sledgehammer that he came with, but really didn't want to design a piece just for that. So we have this piece right here, which is actually the base of an anvil. This anvil will most likely come with Master Shujin. We've also got it slated for one of our adventure packs. But these little pieces are these are monopods. And one thing you could do with monopods is that, accessories can clip into those. And you see a really good function of that is here. On the end of Badger's crescent spear. It's using a monopod with an axe. Clips right in there. Actually fits really well. But you can see I can take this claw from Tarashi, do the same thing. Now you've got a claw on the end of a spear, which we're going to be using later on with Tatsu. Another thing I wanted to show was the backpack. You can see I've got the monopod right here. I can hold, currently it's going to be used to hold Shinobi's handle whenever when he's just using his swords individually. The swords can slide in there. We've got holes all over this backpack. tops, sides. These will be sonic welded together, by the way. So you could store your sword this way. You can store it sideways. Lots of different functionality. Same thing with our mechanical backpack. It's hard to really see the detail in there. But it's got holes all the way around to be able to store accessories in multiple ways. Those monopods that I just showed will fit on the side as well. One thing about the backpack that's kind of cool is this round peg in here. We added as a detail, but also, you know, you could pop anything on there that you want to. Well, not anything you want to, but you can see the functionality of it. This actually has that same piece right there in the middle on that mechanical backpack. And probably the last thing I'll show, well, two things I gotta show. We've got chains. We're working on getting smaller chains for these, but chained weapons. Reminds me of like Panthro from Thundercats. I remember having a lot of fun with that as a kid. Our Kusarigami has this chain. Really love this feature, the working chains. And this little eyelet right here is chains that sit right onto there. You could actually link to other action figure weapons from Hidden Forge line together with those eyelets. That eyelet is also the same diameter as our rods, so you could actually stick a rod straight through there. Lastly, I'm going to showcase our bow and arrow. It's a working bow and arrow, but it also is made in such a way that can be dynamically posed. So you can see the arrow has its clip on the end, and the arrow can actually attach to the bow two different ways. One way, you've got this rod, but you've also got what I call still the monopod area looking. The arrow has this shape in it with a hole. So the hole can go on there to hold it, or it can actually be clipped in. There's really no preferred method for this. But one thing we realized is if we added some of these details that we could use these later on in pieces. You can take that bow and I'm going to fire the arrow off into oblivion somewhere. I better go find that before my dog eats it. Once again, the top of these bows have that same cylinder as the rest of our action figure accessories do, that fit right on top of there. We just, like I said earlier, really want to add as much function and potential as we could for these. These things may never be used by anybody, but they're there. We really wanted to just explore those details. So I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it.